Hey everybody, welcome to Keyword Crypto. My name is Michael. I'm going to do a quick short one today. Quick short one. I have a tendency of doing that. It's using two words to say the same thing. It's stupid. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of really weird, non-crypto related politics stuff on crypto Twitter. If you're not on crypto Twitter, I applaud you. Give yourself a pat on the back. You deserve a medal. It's a complete disaster. So there's a lot of dudes on crypto Twitter right now who are very concerned about people of color, gay people, trans people. Crypto Twitter bros love to talk about people with pronouns in their bios, and love to, I don't want to say attack, but troll people who with pronouns. So a lot of people with the pronouns in their titles are, I don't want to say getting a little bit of revenge, but they're definitely making their voices heard right now. And CT is not happy about it. So immediately, as the bleeding heart liberal cuck, whatever that I am, my initial instinct. So I follow a lot of these accounts just to kind of keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on. And also just kind of like to know, the details of stuff. Not just the mood, but I want to dig into the actual details, because I feel like a lot of people kind of jump to conclusions and don't read articles and don't click on links, and they just kind of get excited about stuff and enjoy the thrill of the hunt. So I jump into a couple spaces here and there, and a couple of people have been fired for, I don't want to say their religious views, because thinking somebody shouldn't be alive isn't a religious view. That's just kind of a piece of shit view that people use religion and hide behind religion. Because when your own pope is saying, shut the fuck up, mind your own business, let people do their thing, and you want to go against your own pope, then at that point you can't claim religion anymore. Because if the leader of your religion that's supposedly picked by God is saying one thing and you're saying the exact opposite, then you need to examine your relationship with your God. So he got fired, and I was like, yeah, whatever. It's like, say reprehensible shit. Shit happens, people were like, he just said what he believed, and I was like, oh, then you think he's a complete fucking idiot, because if anybody said those things at work, they'd be fired in a second. So there's no such thing as decentralization, right? Every single place that somebody works has somebody who's paying them, unless they're all just working for free as a community. But somebody is giving them money to do a job. So that means you have a boss, somebody's leading the project. There's a team leader. You're a member of a team. You got brought on by somebody to do the job. So, as much as people want to think that crypto Twitter, not crypto Twitter, but just that crypto in general is some kind of, libertarian utopian dream where nobody has to be responsible for their actions or words. Okay, but that reality, that reality is painfully catching up to a few people. And then you had the woman who was fired by Super Rare, because people were like, well, she just tweeted some rap lyrics. Yeah, no, she tweeted the N-word over and over and over and over again. Now, white people in general have a tendency of doing this like in a bravado type way of like, look at me, I'm being edgy. I'm going to say the N-word. Watching those videos of Joe Rogan saying it over and over again and trying to like goad his guest to say the N-word, and it's just like, he knows it's edgy. He's doing it to troll. And I mean, you have to just be just insanely dumb to think that there are not going to be any ramifications if you type out the N-word multiple times on a public platform viewed by billions of people. Maybe it's not billions. Twitter, I don't think it's that much, but hundreds of millions of people. I mean, and then try to hide behind it and say, well, Kanye said it. I'm just typing out what Kanye said. That's no different than hiding behind religion. Well, I mean, other religious people say it. Catholics say it's okay. So I believe in Catholicism, so it makes it okay. I have my protected rights, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. You don't have none of that. Private companies can fire you for being an asshole. As much as you don't want to be fired for being an asshole. There's a great tweet somebody said. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. Sorry. I should have had this quicker at hand. No. Okay, here it is. This is from GH at Burner for Bozos. Reality take. You may want it to be one way, but it's the other way. And there's that great line that right-wing people love to say, fuck around and found out. And now it's coming back to haunt them. Fuck around, and they found out. Now, I will say there has been some absolute cringeworthy stuff from the left. And fucking it drives me crazy. But I got to remind myself, as much as there are batshit fucknut dumb fucks on the right, there are an equal amount of batshit dumb fuck leftard lib fucking dumb fuck people on the left. I tried to put in as much curse words as I could there. I hope it reached its effect. Crypto Twitter loves its bell curves, right? So that bell curve works for idiots on the right, and it works for idiots on the left. Just as many on both sides. Just because, of course there is. Of course we have just as many idiots on the left. So, one woman's like, there was like this dressing down of this white man by this black woman, and she's like, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. You don't need to give someone a cookie when they apologize and say, I've seen the error of my ways. I'll try to do better. But if you continue to give them a dressing down, you're discouraging people from acknowledging making mistakes. Right? So I can understand people say, hey, I apologized. And you're like, okay, what do you want, a fucking cookie? Like, you fucked up. Great, you've acknowledged you fucked up, but just saying I'm sorry, like you want everybody to fucking forgive you like you're fucking 4? No. Grow the fuck up. But at the same time, you don't have to keep calling the person a piece of shit over and over and over again and continuing your rampage, because then it's just you refusing to go to therapy and taking it out on some poor guy who admitted he made a mistake. And so we have cringe on the left. If you're a libertarian or person on the right and you listen to this, bravo. You got thick skin, because I just continually harass you people on every single episode. So yeah, we got people on the left that are just asinine. I think that same woman said people in crypto Twitter should be forced to listen to 5 hours of Twitter spaces of black people, LGBTQ people, and furries. No, I'm just throwing in the furries part. But it's just like, I mean, are you out of your fucking mind, lady? She said that they should have to listen to 5 hours of spaces, I think like a day or a week or something like that, before they should be allowed to work in Web3. Just like, lady, you're telling the people who invented Web3 that they should be forced to listen to your fucking bullshit for 5 hours a day or a week on Web2 platforms before they can continue building Web3. Okay. So, yeah, we got asinine people on the left. There are definitely limits. There are definitely limits of what I can handle. So I jumped into space today, and it was all, I mean, and here's the thing, is as much as those people on the left are just fucking, I want to like smash my head against a wall sometimes when I listen to them. They're not that wrong about crypto Twitter. So I jumped into space today, and it's just like all these fucking dudes. It's literally a room full of dudes just fucking sucking each other off. And I follow half of them, and individually they're all nice, or I've never met any of them, but like individually they tweet relatively harmless stuff. They joke around, they tease, they blah, blah. Very, very, I'm not going to say it's masculine behavior. It's performative masculine behavior. It's masculine behavior that they've seen on TV and in movies and are now acting out. So masculine LARPers. Or yeah, a couple aren't. I'm being general. I'm generalizing for entertainment value. So, not all of them, but the majority of them. It's what I try to think of it as. It's a bunch of dudes who weren't that cool in high school, who are now in a room together talking shit. Right? And it's exactly what you would think it was. A bunch of guys who had their feelings hurt a lot, not intentionally, or sometimes it probably was intentionally, because back then people were fucking assholes in high school. I mean, actually, I don't know. My high school was pretty fucking mellow. But just even being ignored, I'm sure. Feeling invisible. And then all of a sudden, you're in crypto Twitter and you've been here for 4 or 5 years, 6 years, and you're a fucking, millionaire, multimillionaire, and you can travel the world, and people are fawning over you because you have money, not because you're a good person, not because you're ethical or you have value or you contribute anything to the world. I'm not saying these guys don't, but I'm saying when you have that much money and you're traveling the world, people aren't flocking to you because, you're this really wonderful, healthy person usually. Usually they want your money. And you're going to casinos, you're going to clubs, you're going here, you're going there, and you're spending a lot of money, and people love you for that. And I know firsthand because I've worked in a lot of those clubs all over America and the biggest cities in America. And we do that to those people. Now, it helps when some of those people are actually really nice people. But I've come into contact with a lot of them who they weren't popular. And now they have a lot of money. And they don't really know how to handle it. And when I'm with them, it makes it easy because I'm just like, just be yourself. And then I talk them up, and they don't have to work hard. They can just be nice. They can be their simple, normal, nice selves. But some of them, and we hear about it in Silicon Valley, just bro culture there. All these guys who didn't get laid until, they were 30. Became a millionaire, and now all of a sudden they have 5 porn stars and strippers and hookers and a pound of blow, and it's an absolute train wreck. It's like, famous athletes who get picked up at 19 and given $10 million and then drive their Mustang and kill somebody at 19 and then have to go to jail for 40 years. It's just too much money, no oversight, nobody teaching them. Nobody with old money teaching them how to be responsible, and all the responsibilities that come with having that much money. So I try not to blame anybody or judge anybody, even though you all who listen to this know I'm probably the most judgmental person you'll ever meet. But so that's my struggle, is I try to not judge, because as an actor playing a character, the worst thing I could possibly do is judge my character. Like if they're the villain, because then I'm playing a character as opposed to being that person. Right? If I've made a value decision about the person I'm playing, then I'm doing the audience a disservice. Because at that point, I'm playing the villain as opposed to getting to the deep root of the person of what causes a person to do these things. So every I don't want to say good because I don't want to claim I'm a good actor. Every well-trained, solid amateur actor and above is kind of an armchair therapist, because they have to be. They have to be like, what could cause this person to do this? Why would they do these things? And how do they do these things and still be the hero of their own story? Because I think it is a very, very rare occurrence where somebody does something bad and considers them to be a villain in somebody else's story. Rarely do people think they're a character in somebody else's life. Most people think they're the center of their own universe, as they should. It'd be weird if somebody didn't think they weren't the center of their own universe, right? So everyone's the hero of their own story. So everybody creates these self-protective barriers to protect them, to insulate themselves from having to come to grips with why they do stuff. And so if they do something, they convince themselves it's okay because of X, Y, and Z. So we get a bunch of people in crypto Twitter who are like that, who are like they're doing these things, and they're like, oh, we should cancel all these people. We don't like these people trying to cancel us. We should kick them all out. We don't like these people. We don't like this woman. This woman who wrote a Substack on how to essentially ignore the bulk of crypto Twitter. She wrote a handbook on how people new to the space can adjust the parameters of Twitter and a few other websites to effectively never have to encounter the bulk of the people who are kind of the people driving crypto in terms of the engagement of it, because a lot of the developers that are working hard, they don't really come up for air that often. They're rarely tweeting, and when it is, it's pretty benign. Hey, there's a new update. Come, blah blah blah. That's my Dan Goldman. Just kidding. I don't know how he talks. I do know how he talks, but he doesn't talk like that. That's my pathetic attempt to be a nerd. So I could see how that would be terrifying, because you have these people who have effectively gotten three people, not effectively, they got three people fired in the last week for being pretty, kind of terrible people. And a lot of these people on Twitter are, I don't want to say they're terrible people, but they say a lot of terrible things. So let me rephrase that. I don't want to say those people who got fired are terrible people, because I don't know them. I've never met them. I've never had conversations with them. I don't know anything about them. I'm judging them based on a few tweets, and I shouldn't do that. But those few tweets are pretty atrocious. And if you're going to say stuff like that publicly and put it out in the universe, I think you'd be kidding yourself if you thought you wouldn't have to be responsible for your words. So I can sense a lot. So I'm listening to these various spaces, and I'm hearing a lot. It's all guys, and they all sound white. Just very middle American accents. I could be absolutely wrong, but they talk white. It's that kind of that bravado of I shouldn't have to be responsible for my actions type thing. And I've lived in a lot of pretty bigoted areas in my life, and it's a lot of gaslighting. Anytime a black person or a woman has a complaint, they gaslight those people, saying, you're just making it up, you're just imagining, it's not really happening, it's not a problem. What about white people? What about it's tons of whataboutisms. So I'm hearing a lot of that. I'm hearing a lot of attacking against the left, against the woke mob. But what I'm hearing the most is fear and insecurity. And it's an underlining, it's just it's way at the bottom of it. And if you're not trained to pick up on that, I don't mean therapy wise, but just kind of an actor, we learn how to do, subtext and you can't play fear. You gotta kind of let it seep out a little bit, or else it's just too obvious. There's a lot of fear. So I understand what it's like to be afraid. I think we all do. Now, does that make what they're saying okay? No, because a lot of what they're saying is whataboutisms. And it's gaslighting people on the left. And it's the idea of, I've only had to deal with pain on a scale of 2 my entire life, while you've had to deal with it as a 10. But I'm not going to acknowledge you've had to deal with pain that's a 10 on the scale. And me having to go to a 3 is unacceptable, and it's all your fault. Even though you've been experiencing a 10, but as long as I pretend that you don't experience pain and that it's all in your head and you're just making it up, then I shouldn't have to increase my pain threshold from a 2 to a 3. So, and also, we're talking about different spaces, we're talking about different communities, we're talking about Okay, so a funny story is I moved to New York and it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. So I grew up in California, and as laid back as people claim California is, it's a pretty uptight and conservative place, even though it has, lefty values. If you're in an all white conclave, it's pretty conservative. And so when I got to New York, it was just like, whoa, shit, I can say whatever I want. I don't have to like constantly be fake to everybody. I don't have to do this. I don't have to constantly be smiling and relax. I can be an asshole. And it's not being an asshole in New York. It's just being curt. And I love it. I love being curt. As opposed to Michael. Just kidding. Fucking horrible dad joke. Holy shit. And then I had a friend from New York who moved out to LA. He's an actor. And he moved out here and I was still in New York. And he called, and he's just like, he's like 6'5", hunky dude, leather jacket, rides a motorcycle, like everything you think of like in a movie, a thing that chicks go for. And he just calls me up like sobbing. He's like, everyone's so mean out here. And I'm like, dude, you're like 6'5", 230, all muscle. Like, what do you mean they're mean to you? He's like, they're just so mean to me. They all say I'm an asshole, that I'm mean, that I'm just like too coarse and like everyone hates me. And I was like, yeah, that's like fucking death by 1,000 cuts out here in LA. Because no one will really be honest. They just avoid you and they never say what's on their mind. And it's just like, but it's this energy and it's fucking toxic. So I kind of think of crypto Twitter like New York. Like people just say what's on their mind. And if you've been on crypto Twitter and you've seen my tweets, I treat crypto Twitter like it's New York. But then when I'm on my personal account, my actor and my writer account, I am very LA. And I edit my tweets. I make sure not to call people out by name. I try not to be too offensive because artists are very, very sensitive. And they will claim that you made them cry, even though I didn't realize I had superpowers and could make people feel things and do things. So it's a completely different world. And I think that, people on crypto Twitter don't realize, I think they really like the world they've created for themselves, where they can just be themselves and shit post and blah, blah. But it's like everyone wants to be a millionaire and everybody wants crypto to be mainstream. And then as soon as it goes mainstream, they're like, fuck that. We all want to be poor. It's not worth it. It's like, no. Get these people out. After claiming that those people want to censor them, they want to go then censor all those people. And newsflash, it's not censoring. If you're calling somebody an asshole and they walk into their house and shut their door in your face, they're not censoring you. They're ignoring you. Please learn what that word means. You ruin the power of that word when you use it improperly. And I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. No, I don't. Fuck, sorry. I'm in a weird mood. So that's it. Just, I don't want to give anybody permission to do anything mean. But if you feel the need to attack somebody. Okay, last story. I went to this church thing. Ugh, I cringe just thinking about it. It was an after school thing. All the cool kids went and I was just like, all right, I'll go. And it was so fucking fake. It was high school, San Diego. So fucking fake. And it turned out that the guy running it was caught 10 years later embezzling millions of dollars and went to jail for fucking 20 years. So it all was fake. And he killed somebody. And it's like not, I don't want to say purposefully, but he ran somebody over and killed them. He was a child. He was a kid. He was a teenager when he did it, though. So he didn't do it like when he was embezzling all that money. So yeah, these are the people who look at me and say, "Wow, you don't believe in Jesus, so there must be something wrong with you." And they're the ones embezzling and fucking cheating on their wives and just doing all sorts of horrible fucking shit, and going to jail for it. And it's just like, you know what? Stop hiding behind your religion. Okay. That's not the story. Here's the story. And this is what I try to do, is not everyone is bad. Right? He said something and I took it and I held on to it because I think it's of value. So he said he was at some event and some workshop, and he goes, all right. And the guy running the workshop says, all right, everybody go to the person they hate the most. Pair up. Everybody pair up and pick the person you hate the most. So he finds this person that he hated the most. And they're standing, they're glaring it across each other. And he goes, all right, now one of you tell the other person everything you fucking hate about them and just lay into them. No holds barred. Don't fucking hold back. Just fucking lay into them. Every single thing you hate about them. Go. And he's like, I was like, you fucking bitch, you're greedy, you're this, you're that, you're blah, 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 you're there, blah, 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 like just fucking goes down the list. And the guy's like, all right, everybody stop. It's like, okay, so every single thing you said at that person is every single thing you fucking hate about yourself. And the reason why it clicked is because that's what so many people do, is they project their insecurities, their fears, their self-loathing, their self-hatred, their everything that's wrong with them that they know secretly. Then when somebody else does it, it drives them fucking crazy. Because it's like a mirror being held up in front of them. When somebody else does those things, it's like watching themselves, and they hate those things about themselves. So they get mad at that person for showing them themselves, even though it was completely unintentional. So I was going to say, I challenge the people of crypto Twitter, because I fucking hate that. It's a writing thing. Because nobody says, hey, stop sucking, do this instead. They say, I challenge you to think better about how to write characters or blah, blah. I challenge. It's just like, fuck off. Fuck. I fucking hate artists who can't take critique and take it personally and melt down. And that is not a projection, because I love criticism about my art, because I'm constantly wanting to get better. But that is, I get frustrated when I feel like I have to like walk on eggshells for people. And now as I'm saying that, I was like, okay, do I secretly not like that about me? So if you're out there freaking out about the woke mob, there's a pretty good chance it's because you've done some fucking shitty stuff and you're on that list. And you could be fucking exiled next. So examine. Or if you hate the woke mob because they're canceling people, are you canceling people? Are you getting your fucking pitchfork and tiki torches and going out there and trying to get people fired, and because I hear people say like, well, we don't scour the internet trying to find all this stuff about. It's like, what are you talking about? That's all fucking crypto Twitter does, is going back and finding shit and posting it and laughing about it. But it's not necessarily to get the person fired. It's to make the person feel like shit. So, examine, is that something you're doing? If they're like, don't talk like this, are you telling people not to talk like that? You don't like being told not to say the N-word, but then you consistently try to put people down for using pronouns. You're trying to stop them from saying what their community talks about. So there's just a lot of projection. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying not to be judgmental. I'm trying to see like what part of my judgmentalism, coining that, TM, trademark pending. What part of your judgmentalism is projection? What part of it is fear? And what part of it is just valid critique? It's okay. It's okay to actually critique somebody and be like, hey, I don't like it when you call me an asshole. I didn't call you an asshole. And they'll say, you didn't call me an asshole, but you belittled me for fucking 3 days. So it's like, I think people just need to, this drives me crazy when people say, you need to listen. You need to listen more. Don't talk. Just sit down and sit there. That's what I fucking hate about the left. Just sit there. It's my turn to talk. Well, no, I don't want to I didn't sign up for this lecture. If I'm not going to get school credit for it, I'm not going to sit through it. If you want to have a dialogue, we'll have a dialogue. But guys on the right, guys on crypto Twitter, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, is not an acceptable line. You did mean to interrupt. That's why you interrupted. You absolutely meant to interrupt. Apologizing for it is like that fucking white bitch who cuts in front of you and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in front of you." Yeah, you did, bitch. That's why you did it. Because you felt that you didn't need to wait and that your time was more valuable than mine. That's what I need to work on in therapy. And is why I'm currently single. So see, we all have our fucking baggage. We all have our shit. I think Twitter amplifies it just because it's fun to fucking rampage. Okay. I just felt the need to talk about that. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're staying sane. Hope you're not broke. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Don't get caught up in scams. Just the normal stuff. I appreciate your support. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Okay, bye.